Welcome to our fourth consecutive road trip. Now we go to the Midwest, to the Red River Valley to play in Grand Forks against UND. A football team is surprisingly is 4-1. They played exceptionally, obviously, against Wyoming. They played outstanding against Cal Davis. They stumbled against a very good NDSU team, but they're pretty salty. They have a really cool lineage now on defense. For the second year in a row, they've really created a really buzz about their team defensively. Offensively, last week they found themselves a little bit of a running game and played pretty well at quarterback. They, like us, are battling some injuries or unavailabilities. But overall, a very solid football team that doesn't make mistakes. And I'm talking from the perspective of looking at our team, who leads the Big Sky Conference in turnovers by quite a wide margin. And we have found ways in games to step out of our skin and to be extremely undisciplined. Those 3 15-yard penalties last year in the flurry of the third quarter, timing up with a turnover by Xavier, who's handled the ball probably more than any football player in the history of Idaho State University, destroyed any opportunity that an entire team had to be able to be competitive deep into the fourth quarter against a very good Cal Poly team. Give Cal Poly the credit, they knocked the ball out, but they didn't cause the 3 15-yard penalties, which had an extremely deleterious effect or impact on our ability to be able to be competitive in that game. So internal team discipline is something that we strive for all the time, and it evaded us for about 5 minutes, and I think we got it back. So let's talk about this week. Question?
Mike, you mentioned North Dakota's running game. They've got a freshman back, Santiago, who I think has had at least 2 100-yard games. What type of a runner is he? I have not seen any tape or anything of him.
He's a ballpoint pen type of runner. He punches and punches and punches until he finds the ink. He's not an explosive long strider, but has his pad level low and his feet churning all the time. He's got a never say die attitude, very similar to Xavier. Runs a good pad level with great balance.
Another running quarterback, how is he different than other running QBs you faced, and is running his natural inclination?
His natural inclination is to tuck it and go. I mean, they've tried to throw some passes with him, but he doesn't like the rush, and so he uses his feet to escape the rush instead of going to his second and third receivers. And young quarterbacks are wont to do that, or sometimes college quarterbacks, you can't ever get them out of it. They go to primary to run, and it's a facet of our sport that running quarterbacks, guys who run the ball at quarterback, use their feet to get themselves out of trouble.
Coach Barnum, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said they were somewhat surprised with the amount of times he ran, or maybe the effectiveness he ran with it. I mean, he broke over 100 yards for the first time. Was that unusual?
No, because we've seen it coming. As we've watched UND play several games this fall, we've seen them go more and more towards quarterback sweeps, quarterback counters, quarterback powers. And I think they're real comfortable with what this quarterback can do by running the ball.
Mike, is UND, would it be fair to say that they're kind of a no-frills, basic type offense? They just get the job done?
Yeah,
fair?
Sometimes I think they're in the wrong conference. They're in the Missouri Valley. They play like a lot of the Missouri Valley Conference teams do. Solid on defense, no questions in the kicking game, and offensively they do everything in their power not to hurt themselves. So not a wide open, throw it, spit it, throw it, spit it, spit it, spit it, throw it, throw it team like we are. They're a team that's going to play to the nuances of the moment and use their offense only to the extent that it provides them enough points to get a small margin of victory. They love 17-10, 17-16. And they're built defensively to sit on top of you without a lot of pressure. Even though they sound like they're a pressure team, they're not really a pressure team. They're a team that sits back and makes you earn it every chip and trip down the field.
It sounds like they're comfortable, Mike, with close games, because I think they've won 3 games this year by a touchdown or less.
Yeah, they don't. Drake's a non-scholarship program, and their margin of victory over Drake would be we'd consider unacceptable here, and they were like, "Man, that was great. We won." It's a different mindset, just a different mindset.
Is it I heard some stat they blitzed a majority of the time, but you're saying maybe they don't. Or what do
Well,
you mean
when
by-
we first saw it, we felt like it was going to be a lot of blitz, and at first blush, it looks like it's all pressure, but it's not. It's 4 and 5 man pressures that are pretty natural. They do a good job of covering. They do a nice job of trapping into corners where they play inside of the receivers and try to get you to throw quick outs. They want to make you think that they're blitzing every time, so you should throw the ball short and their corners can jump on the out patterns. So the illusion is not exactly what it seems. And by game 6, everybody draws a pretty good beat on what everybody else is trying to do. And everybody's got video editing, and we've broken them down enough times to know exactly what we're going to see. And they're not going to change, and we're not going to change. So strength against strength when it's our offense versus our defense, because I'm really pleased with where we've come offensively now with Michael. Michael, even though we ended last game with an interception, and it's been his 3rd game, I believe, on his last play on the field with an interception, he really played outstanding throughout the night. He missed some throws early in the game when the Mike linebacker was carrying the route vertically. He got the ball in there for catches, but we're like going, no, wait a minute. That's not good. It's good, but it's not good. So you got to make sure he takes the underneath stuff a little more.
You say you're happy with Michael. What have you seen with him development-wise over the last few weeks, even though things have gone really wrong?
Well, his footwork's gotten great. His accuracy's gotten much better. His sense of where we're at, throwing and passing, is very outstanding. He's spreading the ball around to a plethora of receivers. He's not just focusing in on one guy, and that one guy's pretty darn good. But he's done a good job. Sometimes our quarterbacks in the past, they would zero in on Rod Rumble or Luke Austin or Madison. And that's a danger with a young quarterback. You've got to make sure you spread the ball around, and we throw to a variety of receivers in a variety of aspects and a variety of plays. And that's one thing Michael's been stayed true to what we're doing. He's just got to be able to make sure that he continues to manufacture points on every possession. I mean, we're seeing a couple teams in the United States now at the level above us and in our own conference that never punt. Eastern Washington, Montana State, those guys hardly ever punt. Our offensive production, not our mindset, but our production has to be good that we never punt. When we consider a punt, it's like a turnover. So we're going to start considering punts as turnovers here. And if you look at that, then last week we not only had a fumble on a kick recovery, we fumbled, we threw an interception, we also punted 4 times. So you're not going to beat anybody with essentially 7 turnovers.
A few weeks ago, I think it was after Boise State, you said he needed to be more accurate in the red zone. How's that come along? I mean, UNLV wasn't very good.
But I think if you look at our red zone production and you look at the numbers, just take last week. Just last week. We haven't attempted a field goal. We didn't have to because every time we were in the red zone, we were 4 for 4. So I thought his past performance in the red zone last week was exceptional. We threw a couple screens down in there. We threw some fade balls. We threw some slants. We threw some seam balls to Tyler Graves over the middle. I thought his accuracy and his game performance is much improved. And now it's his standard. Now it's not exceptional. It's his standard at 65%.
What's that tell you about him coming in, being the quarterback, his development, his attitude? What's that tell you about the future?
All of it, Jeff. He reminds me a lot of Matt Ryan from Atlanta. He looks the same. He's got the same kind of delivery, but his demeanor and makeup is exactly what we wanted our quarterbacks. He's smart, he's intelligent, he's quietly competitive, and he's humble. And he's taking coaching. And I could see almost on every single play how both he and Tanner Guller are applying the coaching to the situation. We've grown monstrously at quarterback. We had a long ways to go. So it's all part and parcel of getting to October 1st with a competent quarterback. Here we are.
Will Rattel, their middle linebacker,
You mean Nick Albano?
Talk about.
Look, doesn't it remind you of Nick Albano? He's exactly Nick Albano. Kid from Minnesota who played for us out of Rochester Junior College. Exact same size, 6'2", 250, fast, tough, burly, gonna hit you, gonna run at you, gonna hit you, and gonna hit you, gonna hit you. Yes, Nick Albano. So it's great. Play against us. Nick, I didn't know Nick had transferred and taken a new name. I'm sure he's enjoying his career at UND. But go ahead, Jim.
Well, you spoke to it. Is he the linchpin that, I mean, they're holding teams to like 68 yards a game on the ground. Is he the guy that both?
No, they play great team defense. They don't have one single defensive guy that's that's a standout or a stalwart. They just play a different defense than what we're used to seeing. They play everybody up close, and they try to run into gaps, and they try to run through gaps to make you feel like they're pressuring. They're just trying to sit on top of the run. But also they're carrying the pass, so they're good defensively because they got a nice scheme. They believe in it and they're playing hard. I think the last part of that statement is more important than what they run. They believe in it and they're playing hard.
What's the state of your defense right now?
Well, we've been savaged. We played the best rushing team in our conference by far, and actually played very well throughout the night. We had 42 or 43 plays of 4 yards or less, which is a good deal for us. We didn't play well at safety. We didn't play well on the perimeter, chasing the ball and pitch. And that was an issue for us. We never set an edge, and we never got the backside safety across the pitch consistently like we have to. I love the scheme. I love what we call. If we played Cal Poly again, we'd call the exact same stuff. We'd just speed up our backside safety.
Fourth straight game on the road, is that tiring for the team right now?
It's exhausting. It's incredibly exhausting, especially when your charter doesn't leave until midnight. And last week, our charter left at midnight, which meant that at halftime in Cal Poly, which was 8 o'clock, about 8:30 to us, we were ready to go to sleep. I walked into the locker room at halftime and knew we were in trouble. We were really quiet. And we were not because we were not excited to play, but because we were exhausted. We didn't go to bed till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. our time. And so it was just a function of the flight. But the last thing I'm ever going to knock is a mechanical failure that gets fixed on a flight. So don't want to go there. But it made it harder on us to be able to play. And it had an impact on us. In fact, if you look at the circadian patterns of athletes, you disrupt the team to 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning, you're going to get what you get, a slow, sleepy second half is the way we play. It's not an excuse. It's the fact.
Have you ever played 4 straight road games like this before?
Yeah. Steve and I were talking about this morning, and we had a bye here. We played 2 on the road, or 3 on the road, and then had a bye and played another one on the road. It's just an unfortunate part of scheduling. I mean, I wish we played 6 home games a year. Unfortunately, we can't, or we don't. And we played non-conference game early, and we opted to move one of our earlier or later home games to an early road game, so we'd have more home games at home. And we lost serve. I mean, Mike Kramer's choice. And now we're kind of paying the price for that. But all we can do is get on the jet and fly out to Grand Forks and get there early enough. Hopefully we'll get there early enough to be able to enjoy a good night's sleep and then play at 1 p.m., which is a noon kickoff to us.
You're starting Rasheed Williams at rush linebacker. Why make that decision?
He's improved play. His game performance is outstanding. He's really grown. He's really playing maybe more consistently than we've played there up to this point.
He was a DN before, of course. How much of a transition is it to rush?
Not much. We drop him occasionally, but he plays pretty well on the outside. He's got really nifty feet, and at 257 pounds, he's got good size. He's really disciplined in how he plays. He plays square. He plays smart. He's not just running around. And sometimes our just run around stuff has really gotten us in trouble. We keep total number of critical errors at every position, and you get so many critical errors, at some point you're going to have to come off the field, whoever you are, at every position.
Is the hope that him playing rush, will that directly benefit the run defense?
I guess we'll find out. We're trying to play the best 11 guys. And him moving to rush, I wouldn't read a lot into it. We're just trying to make sure that we get the best 11 guys in the field. Because the other position we've struggled at mightily has been safety. And we've had a revolving door. We've tried Camino, we've tried Biddle, Jeremy Biddle. We've actually gone to the freshman, Jason Miller, a little bit, and then we've gone back to Camino Ward. We are unhinged at strong safety. We have got to get that fixed.
And how do you do that?
Boy, you just keep rotating guys through until you find a guy who gets more comfortable to make tackles and make plays on a consistent and considerable basis.
Well, I was reading this thing you talked about in the past. You said every team you've had, I think, but like 1 year at ISU was better at the end than at the beginning. I think that's something really. So is this team on a trajectory to be better later in the year than at the beginning?
I hate to really pinpoint it down to one position, but one position really determines our success on defense, and that's safety. And we can't play better defense when we can't play better at safety. It's coming down literally to one position that has to play better to make us better in the back end, and that's safety. And our safety play at one position has been atrocious, and we've got to get that fixed. And hopefully, guys will learn from their mistakes and apply themselves better and be a factor, a positive factor in the game instead of a negative factor against their own defense. And the same thing happened to us at 12. We got worse and worse and worse defensively, and we got worse at safety.
Is that it?
Is there a sense of urgency now?
Sure. There's a sense of uneasiness, a sense of urgency. Nobody's happy. Everybody's irritable. Good. Should be. 1-4. That ain't good. No matter how you cut it, no matter who you've played. It ain't good. That's not great English, but it's exactly what Yogi'd say it, so it ain't good.